All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for attending the today's CRA development meeting. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Before we begin, I'd like to entertain a motion to excuse both the mayor and Commissioner Barnes. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the public? Okay, seeing none, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Russell?
Yes.
Commissioner Tender?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Friend?
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Number 2 on the agenda is public comments. Do we have any public? Yes, ma'am.
Janet Walker, 1106 Michigan Avenue. This is in regards to the Residential Development Incentive Program. There are 4 of them of that category on the agenda today. I'd like to speak regarding just an outline of what I see. I have 4 of them in front of me, not necessarily the ones on the agenda today. And I'm finding inconsistencies in the application. 2 of the applications has a question saying, has the applicant submitted more than 3 applications in the current fiscal year? While 2 of the other applications do not ask that question of the applicant. So I'm a little confused as to how applications can be handled properly if they're not consistent.
I think that's a fair question. I think we made a change to the application. I think we'll let our director speak to that. Mr. Ben?
This requirement was one of the initial requirements of the residential incentive program, and it has been changed. I would have to look up the exact date when it was changed, but when we updated the application form the last time, we took this requirement off the application.
You took the question
About how many,
off of the
yes, so some applicants may still have an old application form somewhere in their stack of papers, and they use that to submit their application, and that's maybe the reason why there's some inconsistency.
Okay. That leads me to my second question. How many times per year can an applicant fill out an application and hope to receive the funds?
Right now, there is no limit in terms of application submittal. I certainly hope that we will get as many applications as possible, because that's the whole intent of this incentive program, is to increase the taxable value in the CRA.
May I ask a question?
Not yet. No, ma'am, we don't have a motion.
Okay.
My next question would be, you're accepting multiple applications from one person. How many times would he be able to receive the money, either the $2,500 or the $5,000?
Ben, if you will.
This depends on the approved budget for this incentive for that particular fiscal year, and how much money has been used at that point in time. So it is up to the CRA board if we're getting close to the budget limits. I will mention this to the board. We have never exceeded the proposed budget for the residential incentive program, so we've always stayed within budget so far.
Thank you, sir.
My next question is, what on this application, it says the city's current fiscal year ends and it leaves a blank. What is the city's fiscal year? Is it October 1 through the following September 30th?
Correct.
According to these applications, some of the people think that the fiscal year ends with December the 31st. So I think that needs to be clearer to people.
Okay, thank you.
May I continue about other items, or shall I sit down?
No, yes, ma'am. I'll allow it. It's public comment, so yes, ma'am, go right
Okay.
ahead.
I have great concern about this residential program, especially when one person a developer can put in as many applications as he wants, and if no one else puts in applications, he could consume all of the budgeted money for that particular program. That's one thing that I don't like. The second thing that I don't like is when a developer receives approximately $5,000 for a new house that he's building, and he has 2 houses on the same block, he has done more than $10,000 damage to the street. We have had numerous log trucks take the logs away. We've had cement trucks. We have had at least 20 truckloads of sand brought in. There are more cracks now on the street. There is more flooding problem on the street. So I don't appreciate giving a developer who's making money on a new house $5,000. So that's $10,000 in this past week this gentleman is making, and yet the city is going to have to come in and improve the road at the city or the taxpayers' expense.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Public comments? Okay, if not, Commissioner Tender, did you have something?
But the only question I had was, she answered it for me.
Okay.
It's not just one person, it is one person that's applying for all of these?
Yeah.
Two.
Okay, 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, well,
these two were by George Outlaw. These 2 are by different people, but
Thank
the
you.
same contractor.
okay. With that, we'll move on to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any other discussion? Public? Anything else? Okay, if not, call the roll.
Commissioner Russell,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Friend.
Yes. Okay, going on to our regular agenda, number 9, discussion of possible action regarding advisory board member William Barhart. Do I have a motion?
I guess I can give you some background.
If
I
you'd
was
like
going
to.
to say, can we
Sure.
discuss it?
Background is Mr. Barnhart, way I understand, has not been at several meetings, and according to the bylaw set forth for that, we need to look at replacing him on the committee. So I think that's the wish of the CRA committee. Is that correct, James? Okay.
Sounds good. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, and nor any other discussion from the board?
Yes. How long ago was this man appointed to the board?
I think Mr. Barnhart was appointed in December, or his first meeting should have been in December 7th, 2017. I have never seen him at an advisory board meeting. I talked to him once on the phone, maybe twice. I always made sure to include him in our email communication in the communication I have with the other advisory board members via email, but I haven't received any response.
Okay, thank you,
One
sir.
other
Anything
question.
else? Yes, sir.
The replacement, is that an automatic replacement, or does the replacement have to come before this board for approval again?
Well, we have the application from Frances Witkoff pre-approved a couple of months ago, so she is basically ready to serve on the advisory board. If you approve today to excuse Mr. Barnhart from his volunteer position, she will automatically fall into that seat.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jenke.
Okay, anything else from the board? From the public? Okay, seeing none, call the roll.
Commissioner Russell,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Friend.
Yes. Okay, moving on to item 10, discussion and possible action regarding the proposed historical walk topic. Mr. Ben?
This is an item or one of the projects the Lynn Haven CRA is working on this fiscal year. We have it in our budget. The CRA Advisory Board had a meeting last week to really talk about the contents of the historic walk, the different topics that should be mentioned at each station. We had great input from the advisory board, but also from the public. So it was well received, this project, and we also received some good information. I'm here today to request approval of this proposed list that is attached to this agenda packet, so that I can move forward with this project.
Great, thank you, sir. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion from the board?
This item was unanimously approved by the advisory board?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Okay, seeing none from the public for this item? No? Okay, call the roll.
Commissioner Russell,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Friend.
Yes. Okay, moving on to item 11, discussion and possible action regarding the storefront assistance program parking expense addition. Again, Mr. Ben.
This is an item that was discussed at one of the CRA advisory board meetings. When the board looked at the storefront assistance program application, they noticed that resurfacing of a business parking lot, restriping is not an eligible expense. However, the board thinks that it makes a significant difference in the appearance of the business if the parking lot is in good shape. So the advisory board is requesting consideration to add this expense to the list of allowable expenses under the storefront assistance program.
Great, thank you very much. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion for discussion.
Okay, and do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, with that, we'll open it up for discussion. Some from the board?
Yeah, Mr. Jenke, I understand the concept of this and think that it would probably be a good idea to approve it. The only fear I have is the way it's worded, parking lot resurfacing and striping costs. So every time somebody comes to the city and says, hey, I've restriped my parking lot, I want you to help me pay for it. I mean, how do we keep them from applying for it every time they restripe their parking lot? And I'm not talking about resurfacing. Obviously, Simple Seafood, the example you gave us, did an amazing job with their parking lot. They resurfaced it and striped it, and it made a huge change in that building. But say you take the grocery outlet over here, and they just want to stripe the parking lot. That's not going to change the aesthetics of the building. But the way I read this, that would be an application they could apply for.
Mr. Jenke?
Well, this first of all, the business would have to be located in a certain area, so this doesn't apply to all of Lynn Haven, so it would be only in the downtown area, if you will. The advisory board did talk about resurfacing and striping. Maybe we need to change the wording a little bit and fine-tune it a little bit and make sure that it pertains to both at the same time, resurfacing and striping, and not only striping. If that's
Yeah,
something the
I
board
would be agreeable to that, along with we put the wordings in it that it's a one-time thing, that the business can't do it this year, and then 5 years from now, they need to resurface again, and they come back to us again.
okay.
Mr. Jenke, could I ask you, would you like to take that back to your advisory board, or would you like for us to just maybe change the motion to include that type of verbiage? Which would you prefer? And you have your chair here tonight as well. You could ask him.
I have the chairman here of the CRA advisory board, and James, if you don't mind, maybe you can come up, and
Sure.
if it's okay with the board.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. It's certainly a privilege to serve on a board within our community, even voluntary. The parking lots, what I have is, talking with the advisory board, is kind of a vision of seeing the corridor here. And if you'll look throughout the corridor, there's many things that can be eyesores. But seeing what's been done at City Hall, seeing what's been done at Ace Hardware, seeing what's, and what we have done as well, is to add that into the ability of the CRA area to bring up and make it look better, not including any landscaping because that can go away in a season. But parking lot resurfacing was more, I think, what we was looking at, and then the striping comes with it. And I wouldn't even have a problem if it was attached to that you also have to be in the process of a storefront as well and let that be a part of it, if that helps any. But I think it would definitely look a lot different across Ohio Avenue with parking lots looking different.
So let me ask you this while I have you. Would you be okay with us changing the motion to include that verbiage that Commissioner Russell discussed, or would you like to take it back to your board and then bring it back to this board?
Probably been as there's only one other member here from the board.
Okay.
Maybe we should take that up and
Okay. Take it back to your board?
take it back and
That's
then
fair
come
enough.
back with the verbiage and give us an opportunity to make that so that it's not something that somebody can capitalize on just to get their parking lot restriped, but to actually make our city look better.
Well, thank you very much, and let me use the opportunity to say thank you very much for serving on that board. We understand it's a volunteer service. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion from the board? And then do we have any more discussion from the public? Okay, if that, go ahead and call the roll.
1 minute. It was a motion for discussion.
So call the roll.
Commissioner Russell,
Okay, I need some clarification on.
Sure. We have a motion on the table to approve this as is, and we have a second. We've had discussion. You wanted to change the verbiage. We're going to send it back to them, so you're
Okay.
either going to vote yes or no.
Then the answer is no.
Okay.
Commissioner Tender,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Friend.
No.
There we go.
Okay, so then I'll entertain a mo, as well, it just goes back automatically to the next item. 13, action. Okay, so number 12, discussion and possible action regarding the residential incentive program approval process. Mr. Ben.
So I've looked at this residential incentive program, and I noticed that over the last couple of months, this incentive takes up a lot of space on the CRA agenda at each meeting. So I looked at the approval process to see if there's any way how we can simplify this process to make it more efficient. And one thing I noticed is or what I'm proposing here today is that if the funds are available in the approved budget for this incentive, I would request the board to consider the approval of each application by the mayor, and also if the application is complete. And that way, we're freeing up a lot of, we don't have to use a lot of time from the CRA board to go through every single application, and we can really streamline the process. So I'm here today to request consideration and to get some feedback from the CRA board.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Again, make a motion for discussion purposes.
Okay, and
I'll
a
second that.
second. Okay, so with that, we'll open it up for discussion.
You want me to start?
Commissioner Tender.
Okay. I would like to see them continue to come before the board, because I think once we sign off that they can, whatever you want to call it, streamline or speed it along, then we lose complete contact with what's going on. So I would be against that.
Okay, Commissioner Russell.
Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Jenke, I appreciate your concern with our time and also streamline and make it easier on yourself or your staff. But I too would rather see it come before us. So that's just where I stand.
Okay, I'll just use an opportunity to say that I was actually okay with this. That being said, I enjoy seeing them come. So, and I know we would have an annual review. We'd be able to see the success of the program at that time. But that's okay. We'll just go from there. So, all right. So we have any other discussion from the board? Okay, from the public? Yes, sir. Oh, you want to go ladies first? Ms. Walker? Sorry.
Janet Walker, 1106 Michigan Avenue. I just wanted to thank Commissioner Tinder and Commissioner Russell for coming up with that decision that you don't mind spending a little extra time reading the applications. I think everybody should be aware of who is getting what money, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Mr. Walker?
Rich Walker, 1106 Michigan Avenue. I must make it clear, this is being said as a citizen,
Yes, sir.
okay? Part of the words, yes, I agree with 100%. This goes back to Mr. Russell a long time ago, questioning the CRA and budgets and everything when we started exceeding things. And he was right at that time. This is a way of checks and balances. You get to see exactly how much is coming out. You also get to do the scrutiny on the applications, which you just were demonstrated that some of them could be done incorrectly. I believe your decision is 100% correct, and that's speaking as a citizen. Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, call the roll.
Commissioner Russell,
No.
Commissioner Tender,
We're talking about this last one, right? No.
Mayor Pro Tem Friend.
No. Okay, with that, we'll move on to the next item. Need my glasses. Sorry, discussion and possible action regarding the water service for Lynn Haven. Mr. Ben?
I've been talking to our advisory board chairman about this item, and at this point, we would like to request that we table this item. That it simply gives us some more time to do a little bit more research and to provide more information whenever we approach the board next time.
Okay, sounds good. That's fair enough. All right, could I have a motion to table this item?
So moved.
Do we have a
Second.
Okay, any discussion from the public? Okay, seeing none, call the roll.
Commissioner Russell,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Friend.
Yes. Okay, the next item on the agenda is adjournment, so that will conclude our CRA Advisory Board meeting. We'll continue with our commission meeting at 4 o'clock. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you.